Hey everybody, this is Minister Nikila Shannon, and I am back for this week's episode of Why Smart Girls Do Dumb Things and the God Who Loves Them. So, I just want to take a few minutes to talk to you guys about Leah and Rachel. So, we have Leah and Rachel now. I'm out and about. I have very limited notes, but I thought I would be productive in the hour time that I had at my daughter's competition. So, let me read my notes. Genesis 29, 23 through 30. So we had the story of Rachel and Leah and Jacob. And so as we talked last week, Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, but he got tricked into marrying Leah first. And then he worked for another 7 years. So he worked the first 7 years. He was working for Rachel. Wed night came. Leah was slipped in the room. Boom. Oh, my God. Now I have to have this wife. And then so like the dad's like, well, work 7 more years for me. And so she was like, okay, fine. Because he really wanted Rachel. So that's what we talked about last week. Because when a man really wants you, he will work for you, right? Okay. So then we get to this place to where now the three of them are married. And we have Leah. And so she was not the prettiest. So let's just talk about that for a second. The ugly elephant in the room, as they say. She was not as pretty. And so for her, we already know that she has this sister that is seen to be more beautiful. So that's one thing for her. And then the second thing is that she had to be tricked into marriage, which had to make her feel some kind of way, right? And so we have this. And then now she's in this relationship where everybody can see that he does not love her. So everybody in the neighborhood can see it. Everybody, God even sees it. So as a what's the word for it? A courtesy, as a sympathy, God opens up her womb and she has a bunch of babies. And after every baby, just about, she says, now he will love me. Now he will love me. And so we see her whole mental state of mind is that, she already felt bad about herself. And so now she's with her sister's husband, who was originally for her sister. So now she is stealing her sister's man. And now she's having a bunch of babies to get him to like her. So not only is she the side chick, but now she's also trying to have a bunch of babies to make sure that that he will find some kind of love for her. My tripod is my daughter, and she's moving also. And so we got this whole dynamic going on, and there's this thing that used to be on the internet called beg, borrow, or bag, borrow, and steal. I'm not quite sure what it was. Beg, borrow, and steal type concept, and where you would, bag, borrow, and steal. So you have handbags, and then you would either borrow the handbags or you would steal the handbags if you really like it. Stealing means you're just going to buy it right out. Borrow means that you paid a fee for it. And so thinking of that concept, beg, borrow, and steal, and how often do we do that in relationships? How often do we see our sister's man? How often do we believe that we want him for ourselves? And so we will borrow him. I know he got a woman on the other side of town. I know he's married. I know that he really loves her, but I'm just going to borrow him because it makes me feel better. Or how often do we steal? I take your man. I got him. He's mine. And we celebrate this kind of behavior, right? Salt and pepper. I take your man. And that was a jam back in the day, right? As We Lay. Shirley Murdoch. That was my favorite song that always came on. I was singing it before I even knew what it was really about. But the whole concept is we don't have a problem in this society taking somebody's husband, taking somebody's man. And then in verse 30, Leah had nerves to say to Rachel, first you take my husband, and now you want to take my son's mandrakes. Backstory, her son was out in the field getting some mandrakes. Rachel wanted them because they were to have like an aphrodisiac quality, and she had not yet had a child by Jacob yet. So she was, trying to use her own trickery to get her to get a baby and things like that. And so we'll come back to that concept in another video. But anyway, so Leah's like, how dare you want to call her, you took my man and now you want my son's fruit, boop, time out, Leah. He wasn't yours to begin with. And that's what happens. Nobody knows how to stay in their lane either. So you have women who clearly know that they are the side piece. They clearly the side chick, clearly the other woman. But now they feel some kind of sense of entitlement to somebody else's husband and to somebody else's man. And that's so detrimental to society. It's so detrimental to us because, not only were we doing something that we don't have any business doing, but now we also feel some sense of entitlement to the sin that we're committing. And so, what ends up happening with that is Rachel ends up saying, well, I give him to you for the fruit. You can have him for tonight. So now they trading their husband out for fruit in between them in a competition. We'll talk about women in competition later, but so we have all of these different dynamics going on. So my word to you today is so if you are the side chick, if you are the other woman, if you know that he has another woman on the other side of town, there has to come a place in your life when you say no more, that enough is enough, that you know that you are worth having your own husband. The whole concept with the purses and bags, what you're doing is using some bag that somebody else has used. And so now when you steal it, now you've paid for it, but it's clearly really used. You don't even know how many people's had it before, but you'd rather spend that big money on something that, is not ever really being yours. So with that whole concept, save your money and get your own new bag, right? So save yourself and get your own man, get your own husband. If you have to borrow somebody else's man or steal somebody else's man, then he's never ever going to be really yours, because what's going to happen is you'll get him today, but guess what? Tomorrow somebody else is going to come right along, because he's in a place to where, now this is not Jacob's issue because he really wanted Rachel, but that was a customary thing back here to keep Leah around. But in today's times, if somebody is sleeping and creeping and slipping and sliding with you, then 9 times out of 10, they're going to do that on you. Trust me, whatever trick that you think you have, whatever trick that you believe that you know, somebody else know how to do it better. And if you just spend any time on watching videos and on YouTube and things like that, there's some tricks out there that you ain't even begin to see. So my point is this: there's nothing that's going to really keep him there, because he didn't have to work for you. There was nothing that Leah was ever going to be able to do to make Jacob really love her like he loved Rachel. Why? Because he never worked for her. She was given to him just like a servant was. He never had to work for her. There was no real connection, no real tie, no real love, no real bond. And it's going to be the same thing if you go out and you beg, borrow, and steal your sister's husband or her man. Do they work out sometimes? Every now and then. But most of us are not an exception to the rule. Most of us will have our feelings hurt. Most of us will be sitting alone on the holidays. Valentine's Day is coming up. You want to know if you're the side chick or not? If he see you on the 13th or the 15th, boom, you got your answer. Or if it's just a text message and then his mama happened to get sick, or his car didn't work, or now he got a bellyache so he can't go out on Valentine's Day. I'm just trying to keep it real so you can keep it real with yourself. All right, I got to get back in here because, like I said, we had a robotics meeting for my daughter. Let's see. Say hi. Hi. And so we got to get back in here because they are about to get started again. I just wanted to take a few minutes to get this out here. My thing for this year is consistent productivity, consistently being productive. So if you got a few minutes, get something done. Write a note, do a memo, send an email, whatever the case may be. We are daughters of the Most High, and we got to stay on task and stay true to our purpose. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you next week. Again, this is Author Nikila Shannon, Minister Nikila Shannon. I'm not really big on titles. This is Nikki. And I'm talking about why smart girls do dumb things and the God who loves them. Guys, be blessed.